Welcome to the Religiously Offensive Podcast.
Wasn't that Carol Baskins? Wasn't her thing the old like cool cats and kittens? Is that it?
Yeah.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
I think it was just Baskin, Carol Baskin. You add an S to that, you old man.
Baskins.
Should be Baskins.
Baskins and Robbins.
Aldi's, Kroger's.
Publix's.
Doesn't that one here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's what I did.
Yeah, you did.
You done did it.
I don't think anyone does Walmart's though.
No, it's just those like regional grocery stores as always. Restaurants too, people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
You know what I was thinking too for a random like, do those quizzes every now and then. I don't know if we've ever done this, but like not for today, but just I thought, have you ever seen those quizzes that are like true or false? Like this is a real law in the United States of America. It's
Oh
okay.
yeah,
And like some of them are like,
stupid ones.
if we catch you mowing your lawn on Sunday past 2 p.m., like, but just like you basically go down this list, there's absurd things, and you're like, there's no way.
Which
and then you
ones are
find
real?
out that it's like actually a law still in the books.
The
It's like obviously never prosecuted, but
the most absurd ones are still around.
mhm.
There was something like you couldn't peel an orange in a hotel room or something like that in Florida.
Dude, they got some outrageous stuff out there.
It's kind of crazy. Have you seen that video where it was like they have like the people say like, all right, so let me so like pronounce the word yes. Have you seen this? Anyone? No?
I don't think so.
Yes.
You seen it? Okay. So pronounce the word yes, like Y-E. What is Y-E? That's how I ruined it. How do you say Y-E-S? Right?
Like the word that's spelled
Yeah.
Y-E-S?
So like sound it out.
Yes.
How would you sound out E-Y-E-S?
Yes.
Eyes.
Eyes.
Well, right, I would say eyes, but
But yeah,
wasn't
most
worried
people in
about
the
that.
videos are like, yes.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah.
yeah.
I've seen those. There's other. I've seen those with other words too. It's funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
like, oh, that's not how you say it.
It's yes.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, today I was gonna go off the thing. Justin sent me a little audio message over the weekend.
Oh, can we play it, or is that?
What should maybe?
I think there's some F words in there, so maybe not.
Yeah, if we want to keep this one PG, which we never, I don't think any of them are.
I just don't know if I've ripped a hard F on here yet.
Uh,
I'm
Just a
serious.
Just a
I
soft
think,
F.
I think we could go back and look. I don't know. Maybe I have. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like maybe during the hot ones thing,
Oh, yeah,
something.
probably. I've
That
definitely
doesn't
jumped
count.
to F.
Gabby, there's probably less podcasts where you haven't.
Whatever.
Probably
It's part of my
easier.
language.
I know, I get it.
Authenticity.
I just remember Gabby like, I've never hated you more because it didn't record for some reason. That was funny.
It's like the one. I mean, we've never had a problem. Any
never
of the
happened.
episodes we've ever recorded, we've never had a problem with it not recording. But the one day we're gonna eat some hot ass sauce. For some reason, the video
that
just
was
doesn't work.
crazy.
well, up until that point, it was so we'd never like accidentally activated the voice commands, so nothing had ever happened. We'd been fine. But because we were a little more lively that day doing the challenge, someone said something. I don't know who it was, but someone said something where it was like it caused the camera to switch modes.
We're probably like, stop, help, I'm dying. And it was like,
And it went to
"Ooh, I'm
some
gonna cut this
like
off."
it went to some like fast forward or like slow-mo kind of mode, and then so it was like weird. I don't know.
I remember you like
But it's fine.
struggling for breath, and
Yeah.
we were all just like, and JJ goes, "It's not recording.
Yeah, like oh my gosh.
It's not recording." And we were like, "Shut up." He's like, "I'm
And
not."
you're like,
kidding."
I'm sure I just heard you wrong.
I was in pain, but I was pissed. And
Yeah.
it sucks. But
chugging milk to the head.
I know. No, I did. I've never drank that much milk.
He drank a
In one
gallon.
The
sitting.
best,
I drank a lot of milk.
The funniest
with
part-
ice. With ice.
I just remember laughing so hard.
I
was
I just
remember
could
crying.
not believe how hot it was.
I was uncontrollably
They
laughing.
really don't work you up to that last one. It's just
No.
like, this is okay. This is
Yeah.
okay.
death.
It's like first one's level 1, second one's level 3, the third one's level 20.
Yeah.
And
I
the
can't even
rest-
imagine though doing the real thing with the 10 wings.
No.
'Cause by the time you get to like 8 or 9, it's already death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And then
death.
you got to do
Your mouth
the
has got to
worst
be
one still.
pretty numb by the time you get to the final one. I
Because
don't know.
what's the
That's absurd.
what? No, there was that like people say that like once they get to the certain one, it's the worst.
Yeah. I
The
remember.
bomb is
The
usually the
bomb.
worst.
Yeah, that's it.
Is
I
that
You gotta
think
think.
the-
We just had the nuggets and we just dipped it.
Yeah.
They eat the soaked
sometimes.
wings.
Sauce.
Sometimes they have like little chicken nugget, like vegan nuggets for
Oh, do
certain
they?
people and
But
stuff.
they
Yeah.
also add the dab,
yeah, the last
On the
dab.
final, yeah. The last
which
one.
is just insane.
But I remember the
Gabby got it pretty good.
we took some
Coating
fat
on hers.
dips. Like we did not
Yeah,
go
So
easy.
regretful.
But it wasn't 100% dipped.
That's true. Yeah,
Gabby's-
those are like
I got a
top.
pretty solid
Gabby's was
dip on
about
mine.
90%.
Speak for yourself.
I was like, I'm gonna hate my life after this,
That was
If I'm
funny.
doing it, I'm doing
and it was true. I have hated my life since.
it. Ever since that day.
Ever since.
My life has changed.
Well, yeah, your Rachel's school's underwater. Just thought I'd let everyone know.
Mhm.
It's tough.
The only school in
Only
Orange
school
County
in Orange County.
that
Really?
is deemed unsafe to return to. Yeah,
Yeah, from Hurricane Ian. In case anyone
Hurricane
looking for a
Ian,
reference.
real bastard, that man.
Yeah.
An asshole. Yeah, so Justin had sent me a message. Well, you can explain it, right? You remember what it was?
Yeah, it was just one of those random thoughts where it's, I don't know.
Just
My
I'm not
brain just started.
Justin sent me a message and I'm not gonna let him share.
he
I'm just gonna
remember?
say
Do you
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
what it was?
he
or
sent
were
it
you
to
in
me
a
so he
certain
like didn't
state
forget.
of mind?
No, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
think anyone was in a state at that point.
Yeah, it was in the morning.
One
Well,
We
we're
were
all
just
in
like thinking.
the state of Florida.
Okay.
She'll be here all day.
Bollocks.
All right, what was Justin?
So it's okay.
Same.
So I started just thinking, I don't even know why. Just the way my brain works, you just start to think about certain things sometimes. And I've been pretty open, like in all of our episodes, how the effect that kind of growing up and the shame that I kind of carried because I just never felt adequate, or I just, just never felt like I was doing it quite good enough. And I just started thinking about things, and it's like my shame was like birthed in like me basically not measuring up or me messing up.
Yeah.
And then being aware of my mess up, or sometimes being embarrassed, or people finding out, or trying to hide, or whatever, right?
But you were saying like everyone experiences.
Right, which is like one of the most common emotions that like humans have. And then I started thinking, I was like, it's interesting because there is a verse that talks about the shame of the cross that like Jesus encountered. Like it's like he took on the cross, like bearing its like sin and shame or whatever. So I guess I don't know, I'm still thinking about it, but it was just interesting to me because I'm like part of the purpose of Jesus is to be this relatable bridge to man from God. And it says, there's a verse that says like, he became a man so that he could experience everything that we ever experience, but he also was perfect. So it's like, I don't know, maybe that is a similar kind of emotion, the shame of the cross, having to like do that in his last days. But it's like, it's just interesting because it's like maybe part of my struggle with Christianity was rooted in shame. Was always one of the most prevailing emotions that I've dealt with in the religious kind of communities or atmospheres or spiritual, whatever, church. And then it's like, I was like, hey, Jesus is perfect and he understands every emotion you understand. And then I thought about it, I was like, but he didn't. Like, he never messed up. So it's like, and I'm not saying he didn't experience the humiliation and like shame of the cross, but it's like, to be perfect, I don't know. Maybe I was just thinking out loud. I was like, maybe that's why it was like hard for me at times.
So did Jesus experience shame? How would he know if he never experienced shame? What shame's like?
Or I guess
That
that's
kind of
maybe
thing?
just my limited definition of shame, just being like the awareness of my mess up and like then the subsequent hiding that comes from not wanting to be found out. Something like that.
Yeah, so it's like in general, whether it's shame or any other negative emotion, if it resulted from sin and something you did wrong, how would Jesus understand that if he never did it?
Kind of. Yeah, basically.
Pretty much.
Just a thought experiment.
Yeah, I don't know. Luke?
Yeah, I don't. I guess my mind goes to, yeah, because he never sinned. You're saying so the shame you feel from sin, he never felt because he never sinned.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, you can make an argument that he experienced all of it on the cross.
Right. Yeah, that's
He
my
took
first
on-
thought. And my second thought is like, well, yeah, I guess I would just stay on that. But I would also think like maybe somehow, some way like God knows that we're going through it. Somehow that connects. But my
So his
first thought is
empathy.
the first. Yeah, is the cross. Because he, when he says like, why have you forsaken me?
Right.
It says like he became sin.
Right.
But yeah, I guess I get what you're saying. Maybe I would say because he became sin, then when he came back, he lived, what was it, 40 days?
Mm-hmm. After the resurrection,
And so maybe that process allowed him to understand, because he was sin,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
what the shame of that could feel like
That's a
since he
good
came
point.
back. And
It's an interesting thought, though. I mean, because I always thought about when Jesus was growing up, because, I mean, the Bible just talks about him being born, the birth story, and then
Mhm.
it talks about him during his ministry years. Doesn't
Right.
talk a lot about
I know.
between.
It's so interesting.
So you wonder, it's like he would have had to been a kid, like messing up, doing innocent kid things, but being reprimanded by his parents. So you still think he would have felt shame in those times, but it's not like a sin always, like because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just because a kid's messing up and you gotta like,
Discipline him.
yeah, it doesn't mean they're sinning necessarily. They don't
Sure.
really realize and consciously doing what they're doing. So it's like,
Yeah,
but it's still
I
you
agree.
still experience shame through that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe there's a righteous shame.
That's interesting.
Digging deeper.
Interesting.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
totally,
Other verses
I feel
on
like
shame.
I can hear the voice message now.
Yeah.
No, because it was so
Just,
like
like,
jumbled
working
and
through
just
that.
like going back and because I was literally just thinking out loud in the moment. I was like, I'm just gonna record and send and see what
Probably
we
a
get.
lot of uhs in there.
There wasn't a lot of space. He filled it. No, but I'm just we all do that. But-
Yeah, that's, I would think somehow, some way on the cross he became sin, and that is the umbrella for like all that stuff. That's what I would
Mhm.
say.
I would love to see if they have any like more official records or whatever historical documents that didn't necessarily make it into the canon of Jesus' life and how he was. Be interesting.
Yeah, like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if
Yeah.
he ever ventured away from that region,
Yeah.
or if he just was always. Because I mean, 30 years is. I mean, I just turned 33, but if I think like 30 years is a long time,
Well, weren't there places of
just in preparation.
there were
for
other
3 years.
countries that talk about Jesus having been there, like that aren't necessarily inside of what we would consider like
Yeah.
the Gospels and stuff. So I
Well, 'cause that
wonder.
was we talked on another podcast where it was like some dude was visiting the Dalai Lama and he had these old texts that would have placed Jesus of Nazareth in like Asia Minor, kind of in that region for a while of his like I don't know if it was youth or young adulthood or whatever. Because then he theorized, and I'm not saying I believe this, but it was his like assertion that essentially Jesus kind of learned every religion and then showed us the way in his ministry. That's what he believes.
This is totally not on that topic, but
Classic.
just looking, I was Googling where did Jesus go during his life, and it was saying, I granted, I don't know. It's history. Okay, this is history. This is a UK official website for history something. It's basically history.com, except in uk.co.uk. over Jesus' lifetime, conservative estimate of the number of miles he may have walked is to put it around 21,525. Like, how do you put an exact, like, I could see like, oh, around 20,000. There's like 21,525. It's like,
exact, or they'll
what?
believe us.
yeah, yeah, right. It's just that like no one ever believes the round number.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, seems too perfect. The lost years of Jesus, the mystery of Christ missing 18 years.
Oh, because is that what they essentially? There's a gap between like when he was.
That's what I was
12
saying.
And his parents like found him in the temple,
Yeah,
and then it
teaching,
kind of
and then
goes
he
right
went
to.
his ministry when he was in his 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although, how far did it back up before his like encounter with John the Baptist? Because that would have technically been right before his ministry. His ministry began when he got baptized,
Yeah.
and they were cousins, right? Wasn't that his cousin?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Huh.
he was 30.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus was 30. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, right.
Like when that happened.
Mm-hmm. So is
Yeah.
that what they're talking about? The lost 18 years
Yeah.
that just aren't really outlined in Scripture?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Where do you think he went when he was waiting those people say 3 days, but really it was like 2 days.
Oh, from like the crucifixion to resurrection?
Mm-hmm. Was it just like that, you think?
No, well,
For
I don't
him?
know. When I was at Jesus school, 100%, they believe.
I think it just kind of
That-
chilled in a waiting
People
room.
think a lot of things about this.
He
Well,
went,
because
he
the
went to the
Bible's-
green room,
Yeah,
and then
right.
he's just like, all right, Jesus, you up.
You're out of snacks. No, because the Bible specifically talks about not only did he ascend, but he like descended, and they think that he literally spent 3 days in hell, like plundering and stealing, the keys of hell, so to speak.
Wow.
That's one theory. I don't know.
It's a colorful theory. So here, let me see. this
Because
one.
wasn't another part of it the reason that it was part of the reason that people think it was 3 days is because it was part of like Jewish like custom that like they basically waited for 3 days
To consider
to,
someone
s-
dead.
to consider him dead, something
I've
like
heard
that.
that.
So it's like he did the full 3 days, so that it was like there was no doubt whether or not he was dead.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anyone saying Jesus went to India. Is that what you said before?
It was this, yeah. It was a guy who spent time with the Dalai Lama, and that was his claim.
Okay.
But that's the craziest thing about history. It's like it's fun. It's fun to learn about, but it's almost like, in my mind, to base your life off of history is like, and not necessarily base your life, but I guess a lot of your like fundamental beliefs, like just knowing, like I don't know, I don't trust anything that I read anymore. Basically,
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I just feel like it's like, how can you really trust? And then there's those sayings that like history is written by the winners.
I've heard it put one time that like, do you believe George Washington existed?
Who knows, man? The story, because that's what someone was messing with me. They were just like, how did Jesus teach in parables and stories? What is the story of Jesus? One giant parable to tell us how we're supposed to live. You're like, dude, what if? The whole book was just meant to be a parable.
Oh no,
Nah, we don't need to go down that
It's a
road.
heck of a parable.
that was a heck of a
It is.
parable.
They spent their time on that one.
Yeah, it's like one of those, or I don't know, for some reason it reminds me of one of those pictures that you start like in this place and they just keep pinching and zooming out and it turns like into this other thing and then that's inside of another thing and that's inside of another thing. And you're just like, my brain. Like,
Yep.
what? So
What?
this thing says here, doing the math, the average person with the average stride living until 80 a walking distance of 110,000 miles. I mean, you don't even need to do the math. Like clearly 80 years old, right? Jesus lived till almost half that. He only walked 21,000. Like, what was he doing? He didn't walk very far.
Yeah, but he was like sitting and chilling a lot.
He must have ridden a lot of donkeys.
What are you talking about? Like in the 18-year gap, you mean?
No, I'm saying
just over the
it was
course of his
estimated
life?
over the course of his life he walked 21,005. You know what I mean? But the average person living to 80 walks more than that. Like a lot more
I
than
mean,
that.
there's a lot of donkeys in the Bible. I could buy that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was he wearing a pedometer?
Yeah, that's how they got the exact
Yes.
21,525, right?
I just got back from my time machine, and that is exactly how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly had like an iPhone in his pocket or something. Fitbit.
What was that theory that if time travel does get created, you can never go back before the day it was created? Ever heard that?
Oh, well,
It was on like
Otherwise
a
you're
Rogan
trapped?
thing. Well,
depending
because-
on the method of time travel.
Yeah, if it came with you.
Well, if it's
Well, 'cause
the,
that's
the
my
method
thing.
of time travel, I think is important.
It's like the
with that.
DeLorean.
Well, right, because it's like
Because if you're creating like if like as soon as it's created and like for some reason the way the time machine works, it's like a video game. Like you're creating a save. That's probably accurate. But I imagine you could go back.
What if it was just like a wristwatch?
well, that's what I'm saying. Because then once we
Oh, I see.
like
what
once
you're
we
saying.
discover time, can we go back to
before that.
2000 or right when like the crucifixion and just like experience it?
As long as this comes with, you're saying you would. I see what you're saying.
Well, yeah.
Like it might just not because you don't know.
Or if we don't create this thing until like 3000, like would it let us go back to like the dinosaurs or like
right.
Well, I think that's probably something that someone made up to try to explain why
Yeah, probably.
we don't know, like no one's traveled back to this point, right? So that's
That's
probably
what I'm saying. Yeah.
that's
right.
probably what they're
it's
saying.
like-
Oh, it has to work that way because we
But
would know about
trade-
time travel.
Because Jesus could have been an alien that time traveled back to 2000 or 0.
That's
Let me
that's
ask you this,
plausible.
Justin. I want you to
If
answer
you
first.
can go back before.
Yeah.
So this is a debate I've had so many times.
Gabby, what do you think?
I don't.
Here's the
I don't. what do you think? I
Gab,
don't.
I need you to weigh in on this. All right, Justin first because I feel like this will be funny.
Justin, how do you
Is-
feel about
Yeah,
that?
give me-
Well, just
Justin
because
answer
he's a
first,
deep
'cause-
thinker. He's a deep thinker,
oh my gosh.
and I want to see what your
I'm gonna
initial.
overthink
Okay,
it.
is water wet? Is the debate?
I've heard this.
No,
before.
wet is water.
No, you guys, no.
JJ
Water,
probably has a very logical approach to this.
no, water makes things wet.
You guys might as well pour the rest
Right.
of that. There
Wet's
shouldn't be
just a
lot.
description of what water
We'll keep
makes
it
things.
close.
Right.
Water itself isn't wet.
Oh, thank you, JJ. I have this debate with so many people,
I mean,
and no one believes that.
Well,
What
'cause,
was his-
yeah.
What was your answer? Say it again.
I would
mean,
agree with
wet
that.
is just a description of something that like
It's
water's
covered in water.
water's
Yeah,
touching.
I agree.
It's
Right.
not water itself can't be wet because it's like
So let me ask you this:
unless
Yeah.
it touches itself.
Are
Yeah.
you wet when you're underwater?
It's a little personal, but
Talking about touching yourself, being wet. It's- okay.
Wait,
That is
yeah.
a different question for.
Are you saying are
women.
you wet if you're underwater?
Right.
Yeah,
Well, how though?
because I mean,
Or are you not wet until you leave the water?
you're
I
wet when you're in the water.
Compared to what though? Someone who's
When you're
dry.
out of the water, yeah, exactly.
Well, that's my point. You have to leave
you
it
don't
before
know.
you're wet. Therefore, water's not wet. It just makes you wet once you leave it. Sydney.
I mean, I
Sydney
can't argue
loses her
that.
mind in this argument.
I'm in agreement with the first part. JJ answered the,
Yeah.
but if you're in water, you are wet. Yes.
Compared to what? Like if you were,
When you're
if this was like
fucking dry,
if this
Luke.
was like Little Mermaid,
but it just doesn't.
are they wet?
Yeah, they live.
I touch
they live
you-
wet.
But how can you be wet if there's no dry?
Because you're contrasting the wetness to the dryness of like a hand.
Right.
Oh man, do you want to get deeper into this?
I don't know.
So I don't know about the underwater thing. I would probably lean on you're not. But here's the definition of wet means covered or saturated with water or another liquid. Oh,
So if you're
covered
in
or
water,
saturated.
then you
okay,
are covered or
or
saturated.
you are covered in water when
So
you're
you're
in the
wet.
water. So I guess
But if the whole
You
world,
hear that, Sydney? Keep arguing it.
how in these
But
debates,
I
in these
disagree with it,
in these
though.
in these debates, how often do you go and look at the definitions of stuff? Because that's the first
Often.
thing I do.
often. But to me, that definition represents it when it, like, so it.
So
it's
you're
like
saying
this-
when you're in water, you're not covered in water?
no, that's fair. But I'm saying if my stance
You just
on
don't.
it is
You're
the-
just not conscious of you being wet until you get out of the water.
Yeah.
there is no it's like there's no light
Right.
if there's no dark.
I mean, I'm conscious of it. If your hair is wet, you're conscious. When you get in the water, your hair,
Well, the crazy thing is though, I bet your skin and your clothes feel different under the water
yeah.
versus once you come out, like, and you're technically wet, I bet
You're
your
already
skin,
technically wet.
Okay.
no, I'm saying under the water, I bet you your skin feels like your skin.
Gabby, you're
Right.
real passionate about
And then when
this.
you get out,
It's wet.
You're
This
just
makes
like,
no
my
sense.
skin is wet.
You're in the water.
you're-
You're wet.
So
your
is
shorts.
Rachel's school wet?
Yeah, probably.
Or is it some
It will be
submersed?
once it's out of the water.
I
once the water
can't.
goes down, it'll be wet.
the objects
I
in this, well, the
can't.
school is an object too. Yeah, it would have to be wet. It's covered in
Just keep pinching
Saturated.
out. The ground it's on is an object.
But it's only wet
The
to
earth is an
someone who's
object.
dry.
No, that's not. So
I hate you. So you're saying whenever you stand outside, are you dry?
Right, okay, so that's
in
a good point.
comparison to what?
there's always some
Exactly.
kind of moisture in your
can't-
clothes.
No, not exactly. I'm not helping your point. I was just,
and in the air.
was trying to.
That's true. There's enough
Damn,
moisture in the
okay.
air for rain, and there's enough oxygen in the water for sharks to breathe.
I mean, how much water does it have to be for you to be wet?
That's a good point.
Because
Are
there's
we
always
wet right now?
probably are. Justin's like, I'm wet.
okay, so what about what about like a duck or like an animal that has like moisture wicking
Yeah, because it just
skin or
it just
feathers?
goes
Would they
right off
feel
of
wet?
there.
He's wet and dry.
But if it the water doesn't stick,
But that's the thing. The
Does it feel
definition
wet?
just
Party is
says
wet.
the
Like right
definition just
now.
says covered or saturated.
My hand's wet.
because I think to me wet is like a. It's not like a. It's like a reality. It's like a.
Covered or saturated?
Yeah.
Can you be
It's like it's an adjective. It
So are you
describes-
covered if you're
something.
in the water? Are you covered? You are covered, right? Just like I don't know. Dude, well, everything sounds so.
Okay,
if, you're,
how
if
about
you
this?
jump into a ball pit,
I got it.
you're covered in balls. So
God
It's
damn
the
it.
same-
I'm
He does
done
it-
with
he
this
does it on
conversation.
purpose.
I want to know
He
if it
does
was
it
on
on-
purpose.
You had
yeah.
to
does
do
it
a
on
ball
purpose.
pit example?
the first thing that popped in my head, I'm not lying. Because I got to think of something else other than water that you would jump into. What else do you jump into? You know, ball pit,
Yeah, I guess so.
That's fair.
foam pit, covered in foam.
No, the definition does throw me for a loop. But you would agree that water's not wet.
Here's-
right.
okay.
I do agree.
I do
with
agree
that.
with that.
Here,
Yes.
here, I got you right here.
Okay.
Kind of.
Water. What kind of word is water?
What do you mean?
2 syllables.
English.
It's a noun,
It's a noun,
right?
Oh, I see.
What kind of word is wet?
an adjective. So what do
So
you
water is a thing, and adjective is a way to describe a thing.
So
I don't know now. It breaks down. I was
We're
like,
we're
somewhere we can
following.
navigate this, like because one's a noun and one's an adjective. They can't be the same.
You're like, there's a point. There's a point somewhere. Hold on.
We were all following you. We were like, yes.
No, I think
yes.
there's something there. We just got to think a little
I
harder.
think there's
but
something.
adjectives describe nouns.
So then,
That's their job.
so then, okay, so that's the problem. So then, by definition,
Oh, I see
water
what you're
would be
saying.
wet.
I see what you're saying.
No, not necessarily. Because water causes things to be wet. So you can't have wet without the water covering something else.
So how do you
Yeah, that's
cause
fair.
something to be wet if you're not wet? Can I cause something?
Hmm.
What's another example?
All
of
right.
that?
Can we? Why did this? This is you.
What do you? What do you? Hey, I'm having an educational conversation.
No. This is not educational.
Luke opened this can.
If- yeah, I guess. What's another example of outside of water and wet, where I'm not something, but I can make something that?
I don't know.
I really don't like where this conversation went. It's just
I guess if you look at spice,
I guess is that like is heat dry?
you could. I don't know. I don't know if spice works. You can make something spicy by adding spice, but spice is also spicy.
Right.
But even wet and
I don't think
dryness
that- I
is
don't
like
think
a
that's the same
spectrum.
thing,
It's
though.
not like a air. It's not like a binary decision. I would
Is it
say
not?
dry is on one end of the spectrum and wet's on the other. Something can be like wet. Something can be like dry. You can have like a semi
Like a damp.
dry cookie and a moist cookie.
Okay.
There's like a maybe
we
there's
don't
a
need the word
spectrum.
moist
I see what
thrown
you're
around
saying.
here.
And cookie.
If this is if
Moist
water's gonna be
cookie.
wet, we need to talk about moisture.
Moist cake. Moist.
I think I'm okay with on the logic of water's not wet, but it makes things wet. Saying that if you enter it, you
And then leave it.
become wet.
You are wet.
That's
So-
fine.
Yeah.
That's a new revelation for me.
But I buy
love
into
that
that
for you.
because it's like
But that doesn't make water wet. Still,
no, right.
right?
I agree.
Okay.
So what? Yeah, because when you get in the water, it's like you can be wet, just not be conscious of it. You become conscious of it when you get out of the water.
That's
Because you're
fair.
comparing, right, to how you felt before you got in the water.
Right.
You just don't feel it when you're in the water.
Right.
So, yeah. So I'm glad we all came to that same conclusion.
We
Yeah.
didn't. We didn't. I'm hurting.
What do you think? Well, what was your
I'm
thought about
if
it?
I'm in a pool, I'm conscious that I'm wet.
Okay, sure. But so you agree with the definitions that we've proposed?
I do agree.
All
Sure.
Okay, here's another
So
thought.
it's peaceful.
Just to
When you're
continue
wet,
this.
you feel more cold.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
when you're under the water, it doesn't
Oh.
affect the way you feel.
Not
It's
necessarily.
because of the wind.
Yeah,
Well,
the
if
wind.
water's cold, and you're freaking cold.
Yeah, no.
No, but if you're sitting in some water that's like, yeah, I guess it depends on the,
Close
the
this shit out. We're not
environment.
doing this.
what do you look at?
I just Googled like impossible debates and the top
Oh, no.
the top result was the 20 greatest bar debates of all time. You can save this for another time.
Number 1 is water wet.
What's the next one?
Absolutely not. I
curious.
bet
Yeah, pick. What's another one?
Yeah, this is
Enjoy
great.
these.
there's not even a list. Is there like a
think they've
slide? Is it
gotten-
like a slideshow?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't
You got
stand
it, you got it.
online slideshows.
Choose next. Are all of them unavailable still?
All you want to know is what the child actor looks like as an
Oh,
adult,
Jordan-
and you
yeah,
got to
see, it
scroll
says
through
on it
50
that you're
slides
allowed
to
to
get
go
to the
with
one you were
all
looking
the
for.
Those aren't good debates. Those aren't the kind of
Yeah,
debates
these
you
are
were
terrible.
looking for. That is a horrible question.
Probably better list. Yeah. So
Would you rather drown or burn to death? Like
What's the most
neither.
important man
I think
skill?
I'd rather drown.
yeah, I think
They're
so.
both. They both sound super horrible.
They definitely do.
Yeah, I'd rather drown as well.
Would you
What's,
rather
what
burn?
takes the longest?
That's a good point. I feel like burning.
Okay, I got an interesting one.
Well, because
Yeah.
drowning isn't your
You lose consciousness
isn't your brain like
first.
the last thing to? Is it?
Yeah, but I feel like you would pass. You would suffocate and then
Mm.
drown.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Drowning's
people
supposed to have a really-
that burn to death end up suffocating first.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
'Cause of the
from the
smoke?
smoke. Yeah,
Gosh, that just sounds worse to me.
it does.
It
You're-
does
you're-
sound a lot worse.
Okay, I need to Google this for.
Would you
shit,
rather be
because it's a
burned
little
to death
outrageous.
or buried alive?
Oh,
They all just sound so bad.
Those two, I couldn't decide.
I
I think I'd rather be burned,
I mean, that'd be faster for sure, right?
probably. But same thing, you suffocate.
these are awful.
Yeah, I'm getting
It's
really
so
sad.
bad.
Can we not be? Can you not make it like a you thing? Can you just make a decision about something else?
Yeah.
Because then it's like
Let's go back to water's wet.
Yeah, that's I like
Let's not
that's
do
much
that.
more pleasant.
Yeah. All right.
But like you know how water basically is that in between like so air. So there's like different states of matter, right? You could argue your skin's like a solid kind of, right? Water's like a liquid, and then you have air. So there's that liquid's that transitional phase. So usually people use liquid to like transfer temperature from one thing to another. So like when you have a cooler and you have ice and water in it, I don't know if you ever tried this, but if you just put ice and then drinks, it takes a while for it to get cold because the ice has to melt. But like if you put water in there and then put the drinks in with ice, the drinks get cold a lot faster
Surface
because the
area, right?
water's there. The water's there to like part of it's that, part of it's just like the cohesion of the water. So like when you're wet and you get out of the water, that air is just blowing right over your skin.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so it transfers that temperature into your skin. And you're just like, oh shit, this is cold.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's like wind chill, except it's just way more intense when you're wet.
I feel like I just listened to Bill Nye the Science Guy.
I know this went from a religious podcast to
That's why percolators work.
science.
Hey, this is just about having fun. I think we've established that.
Yeah, I'm having so much fun.
I'm
I
having
got a question.
blast.
You love today's conversation. Low
Ask the
key.
question.
Is a hot dog
Lucky.
a sandwich?
I've had this one before.
Mm.
You know what?
JJ, what's the definition of a sandwich?
All right, let's look it up.
I'm gonna go with a
but
sandwich because you call it like subs a sandwich too.
I got a
right?
buddy
That's
that
a good
says
A
question.
submarine
I
sandwich.
got a buddy
yeah.
from
I'm googling that.
No,
So its official name would be a hot dog sandwich.
Here we go.
ew.
Stand by. Stand by.
like a hot dog sandwich. Really?
Submarine sandwich is the official
Grossest
name of a
sounding
sub.
thing.
I don't know if I agree.
Yeah,
is,
but
is a taco a sandwich?
Can I get a glizzy Sammy?
Glizzies all around. Let's go.
Definition of
I-
sandwich.
I would
An
say it's not a
item
sandwich.
of food. Okay, this is specific. An item of food consisting of 2 pieces of bread
So
with
not a
meat,
sandwich.
cheese, or other filling between them.
Well, yeah, I guess it is a sandwich because you split it and then there's filling between them.
But is
Kind
it
of,
two
but it's not
pieces?
But a
split.
bun's supposed to be in one
It
piece.
is split.
It's not, but it's
No,
the
that's the
one
worst
piece
hot
of
dog.
bread.
Same with the sub, though, right? It's not
Yeah.
completely split.
But
and if
you
call it a
could-
sandwich.
I
So-
don't say 2 pieces
I'm
of
gonna-
So
bread.
here's
I don't
the
think
deal.
a sub's a sandwich.
I agree.
Oh, okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Hot take.
People do
So
say
a
submarine
sandwich
sandwiches
and a
though.
sub are two different things. So a hot dog's a sub.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
don't know
glizzy
how the
sub.
hierarchy.
Right.
The hierarchy
No,
works.
I would
It's a
agree.
sub.
Okay, are all hot dogs
Feel-
subs?
feels
or are all
weird to
subs
me.
hot dogs?
I think
All-
they're all
Which is
hot.
above the other?
No, it's
Like, is
definitely
a hot dog a sub?
definitely the
Or
hot
is a
dog
sub?
is hot dog is not the base level thing.
I would say
the sub
the
is
sub
for
is.
sure.
So
All
the
subs, hot
submarine
dogs.
is at the top of the
Sub
flow
chain.
chart, and then
Yeah.
you've got.
A hot dog is a type of sub.
I
Gotta
can get
be.
on board with
I'm
that.
okay
Gotta
with
be.
that.
And the
yeah.
sandwich is separate. I feel like sandwich, you need 2 different pieces of bread.
That's correct, according to the definition, which
Yeah.
is what we're following.
Or maybe it's in a whole separate category because of the type of bread that it has.
Let's find out what the
I mean,
definition
you
of
never
a
catch
sub
me
is.
describing a
How do
hot
you-
dog
you
as
know
a
what's a
sub,
good
for
question?
sure.
What's the difference in the preparation of a hot dog bun versus like a sub bun?
Well, the only distinction is
It's just a type
two
of
or
bread.
one
It's just
piece.
it's
I
just
know,
a
but
small
what's-
bun that's cut.
I know, but in like the preparation of it, what's the difference? Like, what do they do different? Is it just like how it's put together different, or are there
Right.
different ingredients?
put
It
together.
has to be
bread's
made
definitely not the
differently.
same.
No, it's not because the bread. Okay, so if you look at like hot dog buns, and you go buy hot dog buns, they'll feel like the same way as a lot of other like bread that's in the bread aisle.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get like a hoagie or something that's like fresher bread or Subway or whatever where they make their
Mhm.
bread, it's gonna be different.
Yeah, but it
Well, I
doesn't.
guess-
That doesn't change.
What
The
I'm saying is
second that
hot
the
dog,
sub bun
like a
gets
stuff, a lot of stuff in the
split-
bread aisle tastes like the same, feels the same.
Yeah,
was
but
wondering,
that's,
do they
that's
use,
not
like,
relevant
more
to the
yeast?
sandwich.
It's
Are they
not. No, she
using-
was just asking another question.
Okay.
But
Right.
what the weird
softness.
thing is though, all you got to
So
do
much
with a
softer.
hot dog or a sub is just cut out the bottom
Exactly.
and separate the things, and then it's a sandwich.
Then it's a sandwich. That's right.
So you get your scissors out, and cut the
Yeah,
bottom
but
off.
then the glizzy's gonna fall out of one side.
Okay,
Right. And sometimes,
And
you
you
know,
don't-
when the hot
Do you
dog
not
bun
like the word
separates.
glizzy?
this is just
Glizzy seems to
Where
really
did actually?
bother.
Where
this
did
has
that
been
come
one
from?
thing after
I
another.
don't know.
I'll tell you this.
The
Don't
problem is
Google that.
the problem is my son says it constantly.
Glizzy?
Oh no.
It's just-
In what? Like, what does he say?
Justin's search history
No,
is going to be
he's just-
questionable.
nah, yeah.
What does he say with the glizzy? I want an example.
He's always just like, oh, the glizzy. He's just, oh, it's a glizzy. He always says
Like
that
in what?
anytime anything looks like a hot dog or whatever.
Uh,
It's just
I did
like,
not expect that.
Yeah. It was a questionable
So,
Google search.
Clearly,
you
in
Googled it?
clearly in 2016, a glizzy was slang in DC
gotta
and
guzzle the
Maryland for a
glizzy.
gun.
Yeah.
What?
a glizzy?
That's what a gun? You call
That's what
it
it says.
For some reason, Glizzy Glock comes to mind.
glizzy Glock.
Oh, I see. Like
Catch me on the
like
block. You might see my glizzy Glock. Hey!
You're saying glizzy could be a name for a
course.
Glock? Is
For
that
a
what you're
Glock,
saying?
yeah.
A
Oh,
glizzy?
We got bars.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, you talk about putting a glizzy in your mouth. It can mean a lot of
What
different
do we do?
things.
And there he goes.
When are we doing our cipher?
Give the people what they want.
Oh, okay. We got it
5'2".
now. We got it. Okay. So it was originally slang for gun in DC area.
Right.
And then according to Hip Hop DX, I don't know how reputable that source is, it became a nickname for hot dogs because the length of the barbecue staple is similar to the extended clip of a gun.
What's a barbecue staple?
I think it's
A
just
hot dog.
what you eat at
It's a
barbecues.
staple. At
Like a
barbecue.
staple
It's
of
a staple.
barbecues.
No one eats hot dogs at a barbecue.
Well, trash
That's different
barbecues.
point.
It's not
JJ.
that kind of barbecue. It's like a cookout.
When you go
I'd
to a
like-
barbecue, you make burgers and hot dogs.
Right.
It's a staple.
I
you don't, make
agree with
either
that.
of those.
What do you mean?
Barbecue, you make like chicken,
Pulled pork.
you make pork, you make
Oh, I
beef,
guess.
like
No,
brisket.
you're saying,
like,
Do you-
actual
this is a-
barbecue
This is
food.
a cultural.
I'm just saying, if you
Cultural
go to the
crossroads right
barbecue,
here.
if you go to the cookout,
Yeah, Gabby.
you have
yeah.
burgers. You have
Lucas,
hot
if you go to
dogs.
Mission Barbecue right now, can you buy a hot
No,
dog?
I
Mission
see what you're
Barbecue is
saying.
white people
can you
though.
can you buy a
Right.
burger?
No, there's two
You're not
frames of
invited
mind.
to the barbecue, JJ.
Korean,
I'm with you on this
Korean barbecue.
You
Can't
guys
buy
are
a hot dog
talking
there.
white barbecue.
yeah.
She's talking black barbecue.
What is, okay, so let's go back to definitions. Barbecue.
No.
I'm telling you,
This
this
is
Does it
is
come
absurd.
from Bobby, like from Australia?
You can have.
Next
you can
thing
even
you
have.
ask them what kind of music they're
you can
playing.
even
at the
have ribs at a
barbecue. It's like
barbecue.
you don't
Pitbull.
put barbecue sauce on hot dogs or hamburgers.
That's true.
I
Why?
feel like a barbecue is things that you only
I mean,
put
on a
barbecue
hamburger,
sauce on.
sometimes, but
No, I'm with. I understand. Your
Barbecue
point.
sauce is good on hot dogs though. You sleeping on that? Barbecue
Never
sauce
tried
is
it.
good
I
on.
never slept
I
on
do
barbecue
like
sauce.
barbecue
Put a
sauce.
barbecue. Put a hot dog.
Put a
Put a glizzy,
in the
I'm sorry.
barbecue.
Put a glizzy in the air fryer and toss some barbecue sauce on. Don't toss it in barbecue, but put some barbecue sauce on there and thank me later.
Barbecue sauce also is very diverse.
Was there a topic? To
What does
this
that
whole
mean?
podcast?
The part about Jesus feeling shame, and we're over that. So
Okay.
Yeah, I
we're-
feel like we
we're-
settled
that.
We're on
Yeah.
other stuff.
Now we're talking about
No, 'cause you got like
barbecues.
Sweet Baby Ray's that's that like deep dark
Which is
brown, like
solid.
savory,
bar-
and then
yeah,
you've got your like
Stubbs?
Montgomery Inn. That's a little more of that like red vinegar base. That's a little more tangy and like,
Also good.
Dude, one of those things I would just love to have like a nice solid barbecue. I don't know. Every time I sit down, like to have something when I would put barbecue sauce on it, it'd be sweet to just have like a huge like thing, just
Glizzy?
assortment of
Oh,
barbecue
oh.
sauce.
Like a flight.
Yeah, I did look like I was. Just, tell me when to stop. Are you serious?
no, no.
So funny.
That's hilarious. JJ and Justin are not invited to the cookout.
No, not at all.
That's what it's called, a cookout. It's not a barbecue.
It's the
You can
same
have hot
thing.
dogs and hamburgers at a cookout.
This is where,
But it's not a
one thing
barbecue.
Like, if
when
I'm
we
like, hey, do
invite-
you want to go get some barbecue?
that's
The last thing I'm thinking of is hot dogs and hamburgers.
That's fair, but that's a totally different. That word is versatile. Is what
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to get at.
I need you guys to call one of your black friends.
Yeah, call
ask
your
them.
boys. Yeah,
So we're back to the noun adjective problem.
exactly. That
Because
word could
you're
be
using barbecue as no, because it's still
We're using it
could be
as
the
like
same thing,
a
but it just
synonym for
describe it.
for a cookout.
Right.
That's what we're using it as. Not like barbecue, like
See what
barbecue.
the
sauce.
you bring the
sauce.
word barbecue to different cultures, you're gonna get different results.
If someone, I'm just telling you this, someone invites me to a barbecue.
Who's
and all
the
they have-
someone? That's
is it?
That's the question.
I don't. Okay. I mean,
That's
one of
the
my black
question.
friends. I don't care.
If one of your
If
white
they
friends
invite
says, "Hey,
me-
we're having barbecue," then yeah, I expect like barbecue
it's like
chicken
soda and
legs,
pop.
like pulled pork. But if somebody was like, "Hey, you coming to the barbecue tonight?"
And it's like their family's throwing a barbecue.
and they
I'm
have
like,
hot
yeah,
dogs and
you need to
You're gonna be
hamburgers.
having some hot dogs
Yeah.
and hamburgers.
I'll be
Exactly.
like, hey man,
might have
I'm gonna
other
go to
stuff.
Publix
Yeah,
real
yeah.
quick and get some proper barbecue things.
Oh
That's fair.
no,
You won't be invited back.
Probably not.
yeah. It seems like it's a soda versus pop kind of
It
situation.
will also be a fantastic.
Which are
meal.
both correct, by the way.
Yeah.
Soda and pop are both acceptable terms for soda pop, which is what it is. Soda pop.
Soda pop.
Boom, boom.
You could just say cola and be one of those
Is
weirdos.
that NSYNC?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
so
yeah.
glad.
We were
you
just talking
know.
about. We were
I'm
just
so
talking
glad
about
you
that
got it.
today. Luke, you
What
weren't
is
around.
actual
Have you ever
words?
had
Girly
RC
pop.
cola? You ever had
Girly
RC
pop?
cola?
Yeah.
I've had RC Cola.
Yeah. Where?
Okay,
Your
I'll give it to you
grandparents'
guys.
house.
Probably.
Thank you. Thank you
Also,
for giving
check.
this to us.
That's
Check.
more. I,
I
think
don't
that's more a
agree,
Florida
but-
thing.
Check. I've never had that.
Yeah, it's similar.
We were just talking about my grandma used to always stock her fridge with like 50-50 squirt, Sprite, 7-Up.
7-Up.
All
Never heard of
those.
squirts.
It's Squirt. It's just called Squirt.
It's the same thing.
Is
Squirts.
50-50 the name of it?
No, Squirt and 50-50 were different. They were slightly different flavors.
Never heard of 50-50.
Yeah, it's just kind of another lemon lime variation.
Oh,
but
okay.
I
It
wonder
was
if
just-
that's contingent on where you are geographically.
I don't think I ever even heard of Squirt. Like we had like Mellow Yellow.
Oh yeah.
mellow yellow.
I think Mellow Yellow like Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
Squirt
yeah,
had a
yeah.
little different. It was almost like a more of a
For
Sprite,
Sprite,
with a
it
little
was
extra
Sierra
Uh-huh.
Mist.
citrus.
Sierra
I liked them. I liked all of that though. I really did.
And
Even though
7-Up.
I liked it
Sierra
better
Mist
than
is
Sprite.
trash
Sprite was
compared to
probably the
Sprite.
weakest of
Straight
those
up.
flavors, honestly.
Pepsi and cola is
What was?
much closer than Sierra
Huh?
Mist and
Yeah.
Sprite.
Sprite. Sprite is probably like, so if you take all the lemon lime kind of, so like the 50-50,
You take a
the
sip of
Squirt,
Sprite,
the Sprite, like
crispy.
Sprite is probably the one I preferred the
It
least.
hits.
Oh,
You know
Really?
what I'm saying?
You just Sprite's the king of that chain, in my opinion.
Have you had 50-50 and
I
Squirt?
guess that's fair. I haven't.
Okay.
That's true.
it's also totally subjective.
Right.
Have you
Yeah,
guys ever seen
That's
those
why I
like
said for me.
But I guess in terms of like how big they are, Sprite's daddy.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Well, it's just like everything. Then you, get down to subjective.
who owns Sprite? Pepsi or
I
Coca-Cola?
think
It's the bigger daddy.
Yeah. Because Sierra Mist is Pepsi.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen those like exotic
They even make that
candy
anymore?
stores? They have like exotic candies from different countries and like
Yeah.
chips and sodas and stuff.
All the flavors.
We should order like a pack and do like a rate on
A
the
taste
podcast,
test?
like taste
That'd be
test and
fun.
rating them.
That'd be fun.
I
Or
will
we should
say,
go get
I
it.
remember doing, you remember going to Epcot. We talked about this,
Uh huh.
tasting the different sodas from around the world.
Mm.
Most of them suck.
There's a
So
Coke
bad.
place at Disney Springs where you can get a flight of what each country's Coke.
Oh, I've
product
been
is.
there. Yeah.
They're all trash.
They are trash.
Yeah.
What's funny
think.
is it's just because I've had like, especially like, so we have one of the Filipino families we frequently hang out with have like all the stuff that they get from their Filipino markets and stuff like that. That
Like
has
barbecue.
no, just everything, snacks, like desserts. Like they'll
What do
always
you think
bring
that
like
would be like?
pistachio, like kind of ice cream. As an example, there's this one that's like purple.
I've never had pistachio ice
It's
cream.
weird. So they have weird flavors, but it's just funny how other countries like even in like the UK and stuff, they'll have like some interesting tasting like chocolates and treats and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a flavor profile that they're used to.
Right.
And it's so crazy
It's
how
so weird.
how different it is
Yeah.
from country to country. Because you would think like, okay, well, plants aren't that much different. Process of making certain things aren't that different.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
why does it taste so different?
Where does it come from?
Is weird. And Coke, like you imagine like they went into that country and probably thought like, oh, they're gonna love our product and be like, oh no, we got to change it because their tastes are different.
Right. Which is why they're on the top of the chain.
Yeah. One of my
Changed it everywhere.
one of my friends went to Hong Kong and he came back and he was just like enamored. I don't know, this is kind of related, but not the like PBR is a delicacy over there.
Huh.
They only serve it in like a gold rimmed glass. And it's like their marketing killed it over there.
Right.
Like it's just like, yeah, it's just like a delicacy. And
That's-
here
that's
you get it
hilarious.
for
It's like the white
$3.
trash of
Do
beers.
those
get
people
it for
know they can
$3 at
get a
Miller's.
case for like $15?
I don't know.
They're probably
Oh my-
charging like
I saw
50
I
over
saw
there.
a thing. I saw a meme of like well no there was that one I showed you guys where it was like 500 or some cans or whatever in that massive like case. Like I think it was PBR. But then there's another one where it was this long skinny like it was as long as like a pallet and it had a bunch of beer in it. It's like I can imagine carrying that thing home.
Nope.
Box would probably break. I don't even know how that works.
Yeah, do you think back in the day before they had like convenience stores that people just like loaded up the wagon with just like barrels and barrels of wine and just like
I don't know. Ask them how they do it in Mass. They don't sell beer in the convenience stores, right?
Yeah.
oh they don't. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
They get their wagons out.
I felt which was so strange because it was like I would assumed it was a very progressive state in terms of like I mean like cannabis is fully recreationally legal there.
They don't do that. They don't do it in Maryland either.
But they don't sell beer at gas stations.
Yeah, you can't get a booed
So
like
odd.
Yeah, the same thing in Maryland. You got to go to liquor store.
And you know what's funny? It's like people that live there who really don't ever travel anywhere else, and like you go and like, hey, so you guys don't have like beer here, for example, and they'll just be like, no. And
And
as if
They
it's-
also don't offer
yeah.
specials because
As if
there's
it's
one place we
obvious.
went by and
oh,
we were like,
yeah.
oh, do you guys have any specials going on? Or like, we can't do specials and
Like they weren't there.
Massachusetts.
She was like legally we can't do happy hour.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
it's like, did you ask her? It's like, do you know that that's considered weird, right?
one
no,
of those
I did
things.
not.
I would ask her. I'd be like, hey, you know that's weird, right? Like you get a lot of visitors.
She's
I'm
like,
sure.
I'll talk it up with the mayor.
Imagine how salty you'd be if you were like a gas station owner in Massachusetts, and it's like, I
Yeah,
mean,
it sucks.
probably one of the most popular items bought at gas stations.
Be a liquor store owner
beer.
rather than a gas station.
You know what's
You just
funny?
can't.
You know what's funny? How like blatant people are about drinking and driving. It's like I was at Wawa the other day, and it was like Wawa in Lake Nona or something. It wasn't like a trash Wawa or whatever. Well, Wawas are nice, but it wasn't like a trash area. And it was like there's just straight up like two massive White Claws just like crunched up on the ground in the parking lot. You're just like, it wasn't like these people drank it and sat here for a while to let it wear off.
Like
It's
we can't even like
clearly.
keep this in the car till we get
I
to
mean,
a trash can
you're
or
not.
home. Like,
They're not
just-
hiding it at all.
Okay, here's. Do you think Jesus ever got on the back of a donkey, little
Little
say,
sip.
from some wine?
Oh,
Back of a
DUI.
donkey.
Pretty sure you can like pick up a DUI in America if you're like on a
Hey,
bike.
but is it a DUI if the donkey's probably? I mean, he's doing the driving, right?
I actually think there's a
Yeah,
law
that-
about that.
Can you get it? Can you get a DUI on the back of a horse?
I don't think you can.
gotta
I don't
be
know.
able to.
That's the
I think
original
it's the-
self-driving, isn't it?
well, I guess you're technically steering him where to go, right? Like,
I just
Yeah,
can't
it'd be
imagine.
hard to make a donkey run into another one.
if
You'd
you can
probably
like,
Yeah,
get a
avoid
exactly.
it.
DUI on a bicycle,
the donkey is not going to listen to you if you're like,
I just
hit
feel like-
that other donkey, please.
Yes, you can.
that's what I was about to say. I
That's
was
how
like,
we do this
in Florida,
autonomous driving thing.
The
We
DUI
just like
laws
we
define a
get like these
vehicle.
animals,
Yeah,
we
you
hook them
can.
up, and like they're basically CVR someone's car. They're like driving someone's car, and then all of a sudden, like something happens, they get out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having to figure out a car brain and how a car has to think and artificial intelligence, just hook an animal up to VR and straight up drone style
Mhm.
drive your car, get out of accidents and stuff.
You guys want to know a thought I had this morning on my way to
That's
work?
an absolutely absurd thought. Just
Yep.
forget. I
Very-
forget I said
Very
that.
interesting thought. So I was driving home or driving here, and there's a squirrel, and you know how like the squirrel's passing the road, and if you try to get out of its way, you end up hitting it. But if
Uh-huh.
you just keep going,
Ooh, this is good.
okay. So what if
Yeah, do you
squirrels
swerve or do you not
aren't
swerve?
real, and it's the government?
Oh, I've heard this.
and
before.
they are just waiting to see if you're like driving too fast, and they're like, if you hit me, you were obviously driving too fast.
Huh.
But
There's
you
some
didn't hit me. You're
stupid
going the
squirrels,
right
though.
speed.
But what? Why?
I heard. I
I
always
don't know.
heard
They
it
did a
was,
really good
That's
job
tough.
because
That's tough for me
you
to
see
buy
some
into.
roadkill, and that looks like
As
that
soon
looks
as I
like it was
thought, I was
alive.
like, nah.
it's nanotech, Justin.
Yeah,
You wouldn't. You don't.
they put
you
guts
don't
in
s-
it just
you
like
don't see the
humans.
wires.
It's pretty realistic.
yeah, yeah,
I always heard it was pigeons.
yeah. I heard that too. Yeah,
How? Okay,
and they're
Which one-
charging
which
ports
one
or
do
the
they all-
cables.
Yeah. I've
Which
heard
why do
that.
they all hang out together? I think that was one of the things we talked about. It's like
I
Homing
mean,
I mean, that's
pigeons,
normal
yeah.
behavior. isn't
My
it?
cousin's got like 15 of
it's to
them.
mimic normal behavior. I
They won't
see.
fly
Mhm.
away. And he's got like 15 of them. They just
Yeah.
chill all year round.
maybe there are some
Does
real
he
ones
feed them
and
though?
then
Is that why they
some
hang around?
government ones.
Probably.
In there.
But he like, I mean, not one flies away. Like he'll let them out the cage, and they just fly around the property all day. And then
Oh, they're like
come
they're
back.
like his pets.
kind of he uses them to train the hunting dogs.
Oh, so he shoots
They're
them.
bird dogs.
Hunting dogs
Mm-mm.
are so sick.
How do you?
It's a sniff. It's a smell thing.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, this dude is so deep in that world that like he went to like the Carolinas to get like some puppy that whose grandfather was like this like world class hunting dog, and then he like breeds a litter every winter. He's got a whole setup at his house. It's
You
incredible.
probably make so much money. I've thought about
Nope.
doing that on the side.
Here's the crazy thing, because it's not like those designer like boutique kind of like puppies that are like thousands of dollars each. Like he literally says he probably gets like $600 to $800 for a dog,
Huh.
and then but the way this and he's up in
He needs
Michigan.
to start breeding those German shepherds.
Well, he's just obsessed with these like English settlers and English pointers. Like that's just his thing. But like these people, like this world is very like niche. Okay, how do you say that word? Niche.
I
I
think
go-
it's niche.
Niche.
I don't know.
You do niche?
I think I, do
say
niche.
Yeah.
I thought it was niche.
2v2
I'm
here.
gonna stick with niche.
Should we look it up?
Yep, I am.
I
But
definitely
like
say
these
niche.
people, like it's like that hunting world, like that
It is
bird
niche.
hunting world. Let's go.
I need an audio.
That bird hunting world is like it's so niche that like these litters of
Niche.
dogs, like sometimes you gotta wait like 5 years to get one of these puppies
Mm.
because it's like they come from this like line, this champion bloodline, which I don't know
That's
why
insane.
that matters.
That's super niche.
I looked at this thing that says there are two common pronunciation variants, both of which are currently considered correct. So they're both correct.
Okay.
But they
Thank
said
you for that.
they gave us the examples like niche rhymes with sheesh.
Sheesh.
Now do the rest.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.
And niche rhymes with
So you say it
said pitch.
niche. Is that how
I
you're
could have
supposed
picked
to
something
say
better,
it?
but
that's lame. Yeah.
yeah. But just the
That's
fact. Look,
lame.
so what does sheesh mean?
Sheesh. Is that a
Well,
word?
I know what like the slang. Well,
Wow.
Is that in the dictionary?
I doubt it.
So why would they say rhymes with sheesh?
Oh, that's a good point.
Okay. Well, Luke, let me see if it's in the dictionary.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
real disappointment, annoyance, or surprise.
Wow.
It's
but she-
in the dictionary.
But like
Now it's the
but
opposite.
yeah, sheesh is like dang.
But also, dang used to be negative. We just
Well, you could
basically
still
every
say
so
it
often we
I guess
expresses
it
flip
is
the
still,
disbelief.
meanings of
yeah,
words.
it does still
Yeah.
express like surprise and
Yeah.
yeah, disbelief.
Bringing it back. Bringing back sheesh.
Wow.
I
But
love
I
it.
like how it's not just sheesh. Like it's not really a sheesh if you say sheesh. You have to say sheesh.
What's how I'm gonna say niche now? Niche.
Sheesh.
Hashish. What's hashish?
What's that?
Isn't hashish?
Hashish.
It's something like marijuana, but I just don't know.
Oh.
Oh.
Well,
Hash? I mean,
shisha
I know I've heard
is-
hash.
Isn't well, shisha is the stuff you put in hookah, right? But
It's Brittany Grinder. I'm pretty sure
hashish. Yeah,
she's
Oh,
in
yeah,
that Russian
hashish, also
prison
known as
for a
hash.
hashish oil
yeah.
or hash oil.
Yeah, it's weed.
Yeah.
Hemp plant.
Just don't do it in Russia. Or you're gonna be there for about 9 years.
Hashish.
Russia's insane. Do you see those dudes breaking their legs so they don't have to serve?
Nope. I don't want
So
to.
they don't have
either.
to go in the draft
That sounds
in
some-
Russia?
Sounds like some Reddit shit.
It is. Well, yeah, it was. But the guy was like sitting at the bottom of the steps, it was a not safe for
No.
work tag,
Oh my
put his leg out on the bottom step, right? So there was about
Nope.
this much between.
I don't want to
someone
listen.
No,
I don't
Someone
want to
either.
listen.
jumped from like the 5th step down onto his leg to break it.
Can you imagine? I just like blindfold me
Nope. Don't even do it.
and like headphones blasting music. I cannot even.
That's
expect
pretty
it.
extreme. I don't know. I would maybe just, if I really had to do it, maybe stick my leg in a vice and tighten it till I hurt something.
Well, the thing that's crazy about the leg was it above the knee or below the knee?
If you're too dramatic with that, you could lose your leg.
you can die.
Yeah, you could like
I
bleed
mean,
out or whatever.
There's been multiple
careful with that.
Athletes who had like crazy lower leg injuries where they basically compound fracture their tibia fibula, and then
You can get
it
infected.
could get the artery,
Yeah, right.
like stuff like that, because it's just that shard of bone that's now just in there. If it cuts something.
Would you like to share with the class, yo?
Sure. I have to hold my thumb or it will go away.
Totally unrelated.
That's funny. That's funny.
You can't see. It's about you. I'm just kidding. Look.
Yeah, I say that once in a while.
That's how I feel.
I have a rotation of things I say, the pleasantries, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope things are well. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope this finds you well.
Hope this email finds you well.
Yeah, I go purely off of the progression of the week. So early in the week, hope your week's off to a good start. Like, hope it's been a good week so far.
Yeah.
Hope
Hope
your
you had a
week's
great
wrapping up
weekend.
well.
Hope you've had a good week. Yeah.
Yeah. Just depending on what day it is.
That is funny. Yeah, the thing that gets me is the like good morning, good after, like, cause I'll sometimes on a call, if I have no sense of what time it is, I'll be like, good morning. And it's like 4 p.m. I've done that before.
I'm just like, I'm in Hawaii.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
Sorry.
like I'm in Tokyo right now on vacation. Yeah, that's funny.
That's funny.
What do you? So you ever look at that? Like, do you ever get videos of that random dude that like interviews people?
Which one?
He's like, he gets the close up on the faces. You know what I'm talking about?
Slightly more
The,
context.
No,
the
yeah,
dude
we
with
do
the
a lot
bolo
of
tie
people.
and like the mustache,
Oh, Caleb Presley, Barstool.
barstool. Yeah,
Oh,
Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
he has the
long hair?
really funny
Yeah.
interviews with Glenny Balls, who
Yeah.
sits like next to him just eating ice
big
cream.
dude? Yeah.
I don't know why I
yeah.
thought of this, but
Seen
like,
that.
He has the most sarcastic interviews ever. I love it.
yeah, right. Like,
So good.
he talked to the guy about like getting paid from Alabama or whatever.
See him
and that
talking
was
to Tom
funny.
Brady?
Mhm.
recently?
Oh no, I
He
didn't.
had
funny.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
He was just on Theo Vaughn's podcast.
The thing is,
too.
at first, I didn't know if he was like just editing those things and whether he actually interviewed them because it doesn't
It's
show
like
them
a
together.
Zach
Just his
Galifianakis, like
face?
between two ferns.
Yeah.
type
Because you
thing.
need the close up on his face because it's like it's his mannerisms that
Yeah.
are just like
Yeah, it's great.
Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how to do it, but it's so unique to him. He's hilarious.
Yeah. No, so there was the Liver
He
King.
found his niche.
the niche.
I'll be logging off now.
Luke has left the chat.
He just
And
disappears.
for those reasons, I'm out.
For those reasons. I'm out.
Have you seen the Liver King?
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've seen about him.
Dude, I just like I saw what someone sent me a video recently where he was just like sitting there eating a friggin' lung of something.
He does it all, man. He'll eat
And
testicles.
he is so
for fun.
like he looks like this all like crazy like scruffy dude and then like his shirt's off and he's just like a jacked like
Yeah.
I mean his abs are bigger than Hawaiian sweet rolls. Like they're just
very pronounced. Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Well, because he does. So his whole thing is like this barbaric workout where he'll basically like pull a 200-pound sled while he's carrying 70-pound dumbbells, wearing like a 70-pound vest with like 10-pound ankle weights, and he'll just walk for a mile. Just absurd.
And that's his whole workout.
And then he'll do like other workouts.
But that's insane.
It's insane.
A mile.
You can't. It takes him. If
Takes him
I've
over an
seen
hour.
a video of him start it, it would take so long.
usually takes over an hour.
I don't think anyone besides him could do it.
I actually did watch someone do it and beat him.
I could do maybe 10 feet.
It's so much
That's a
weight.
stretch.
Yeah, it's so much weight.
That's insane, dude. But the
Yeah.
dude is like,
No,
he's
he's bad.
well sculpted. I mean,
Well, he's been on a number of podcasts too, and he's like the funniest thing is when he actually talks, and he never wears a shirt. Like, doesn't matter. He just doesn't put a shirt on.
oh,
And
is
his
that
whole
his
thing
thing?
is like-
I was wondering. Yeah,
his
'cause
whole
I-
thing is like ancestral living. He's like, my ancestors didn't wear shirts. I'm not wearing a shirt. I don't care if it's summer or winter. Like, he's just. But you know what's funny is like he's such a fanatic, and like so like he's so deep. At least in my opinion, he so deeply believes it. Like, I watch a podcast from that he did, and I was literally just like, I think I need to start eating animals nose to tail. I'm just like, I don't even know why, but this guy was so convinced that was like the secret.
He sleeps on a wooden plank.
the awful thing is,
And his kids do, I think, too.
yeah. If
And
I
he's got a
get
wife
used to
who's a
that-
liver queen.
Okay, is she jacked too?
Not like him, but she's in good shape.
Like, I can imagine it'd be insane to. I can't, like, when you talk about eating an animal, right? Like from nose to tail, bones,
No. Just like soft tissue.
soft tissue.
So muscle and organs.
Okay, when you talk, so does he eat the nose?
The muscle in it.
The nose,
Oh, I guess
the nose would
this
be cartilage.
Yeah, I think nose to tail is just the expression of all the meat.
Because literally, when you say nose to tail, the first thing I think about is like, I ain't eat freaking nose.
Okay, but the human noses are cartilage.
Yeah.
But like a warthog or like
What's
there's
a-
got to be some
what's
meat
a
in that
dog?
snout.
What's a dog's nose made of? Is this still cartilage? You know how it's just like a lot
It doesn't
of
feel like my nose.
yeah,
I'll
they're
say
just
that much.
like black,
Yeah.
like hard things. Like I don't know, it's weird, right?
We're all touching our nose.
No, but the dog noses are a little rougher, and
It's
like
soft, so.
rough. I
And they're a
get it.
little wet sometimes.
rough.
Right?
Uh-uh.
Most of the time
yeah,
they're wet.
keep them pretty moist.
Well, that's because they're always like in their genitals.
You don't even own a
sniffing around.
dog. You don't even have a dog.
Dude, dogs are licking themselves and sticking their nose down there all the time. I don't have to own it to witness it all the time.
That's true.
When do you witness it?
Oh,
But that's like so a dog's tongue is like its taste buds and it doesn't have I don't know. Like it doesn't have hands.
my nose, my
They
tongue,
discover
doesn't,
the world
my
with their
tongue
mouth.
also doesn't have hands.
Yeah. There you go. The mouth is their portal to everything.
Mhm.
Okay.
And also, they don't sweat, so it regulates their temperature.
And that's all the time we
Their
have.
breathing does?
Well, they're like panting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, that's how they cool themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do
Once-
cats' whiskers do for them?
Look mischievous and
They have to have a
I heard
purpose.
Mischievous, another word.
That the whiskers are
People
the
say
exact
mischievous.
width of the cat. So if the whiskers can fit through a space, the cat can
Uh-huh.
get through the space.
Look that one up.
So if there's like an opening and your whiskers get through, I guess they would have to get through untouched.
That's interesting.
Also by theory. Someone look it up. I just remember hearing that probably
shoot.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know why I add extra syllables in there. It's mischievous.
It's-
I'm a moron. Just realized.
Would you say
I
mischievous?
said mischievous. There's no
Mischievous.
es. Like it's just us. Why do I say that?
I do the same thing. Mischievous.
Mischievous. It is mischievous.
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 Mischievous sounds like the middle name of someone from Game of Thrones.
That's what
Mischievous.
mischievous sounds
Speaking
like.
of, dude, you watching still? Oh my god!
seen this last week?
Yeah,
Dude.
dude.
It's getting wild.
Irma Gurr.
Back when that was a big thing. This is going to be so less funny than it is in my mind. But it was when that was a big thing.
Try me.
And then there was just like a rubber ducky. And then it was like, Irma Gerd, a squirkatur.
Yeah, you're right.
a
Just-
Yeah.
squirkatur. I get it.
That
Well,
one
because you
just
have dogs
stuck with
too.
me.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, things are funny to different
Hey.
people.
I'm about
it's
to tell you what
okay.
cat's
It was
whiskers
funny,
do.
Man.
It was funny. Hey, I thought it was funny, man. Don't do anything crazy.
Whoa.
Don't worry about it, man. It was funny.
Okay, here we go. I got your answer. Cat's whiskers. They serve an important function. Whiskers are specifically tuned sensory equipment that guide a cat through daily functions. These specialized hairs aid vision and help a cat navigate his environment, providing additional sensory input, much like the antennas on an insect.
It's interesting.
They grow though, right? Do they
Yeah.
grow out?
So you're not supposed to trim cats'
I don't think you're supposed to touch them.
whiskers.
Could you though? Would they
Sure.
grow back?
Google.
It'd be interesting just to see if you cut the whiskers off, does he start running into walls? I mean,
Please don't try that.
I'm sorry. When I was a kid, I used to play with like cat babies, and just like make them walk off ledges and stuff because they don't die.
Oh yeah.
A cat with cut whiskers will become disoriented and scared.
Look at the face.
What?
Look at the face of that cat.
just
It's like, for example, look at this one.
That's awesome.
I love the cats have great personalities.
I also love those videos you see on like the little shorts you see on like social media where it's like a guy will like bark at his dog and the dog's literally just like
yeah. Or it's
And
like,
they'll have,
what's
like,
that one
the-
video where they're like, say all the words that like makes your dog excited, like go on the phone and pretend, and you're like, yeah, I'll go to grandma's house, and then right after we go to the park and go for a walk and take a car ride, and like the
eat
whole
some
time their
treats.
dog is just like,
He's like, what? Are we going on vacation?
yeah, he's like, all of the things I love.
yeah
That's
being
hilarious.
a dog dad is weird because then you just see all these. Well, of course now like my For Me
Oh, son
pages
of a-
are all
don't
just
say
like.
dog dad. Please don't ever say.
I'm a dog
dad.
mom.
Don't.
I mean, it's a literal perfect description of what I am.
Yeah. Own
Exactly.
that. Own that.
I mean, they didn't come from my loins technically.
Haters
but,
gonna hate.
but ever since 8 weeks
They are
old,
dependent on
those
you.
little guys, yeah,
All right, I'll let it
My
slide.
children.
As long as you don't ever like when I talk about
my fur
like,
babies.
if I talk about like stuff with the kids and you're like, oh my gosh, I know my dog. You know what I mean? Like
Have we
people
ever
do
done
that. I'm just telling you, dog people do that.
Mm.
You've heard it. I'm
I mean,
sure.
I'm to do
there's a direct
anything-
saying-
correlation.
I still am
They
cleaning
compare
the
it.
poop off the floors. At least kids stop pooping on the floor at
Dude,
some
that's
point.
your own problem.
Yeah,
though.
you need to
Something-
train your
something
dogs.
went wrong with your dogs early on. Yeah.
No, I
That's
just
true.
can't. I can't.
My
crate
dogs
them all
don't shit in
day.
the house.
I just don't have it in me.
You know,
I don't crate my dogs all day. They don't
Oh,
do
they
nothing.
ain't
I don't
got
even
better
own a
bowels.
crate. I don't
Just
even
let
own
them
a crate.
Exactly.
Just let them out. Maybe they'll stop pooping. My kids don't
I'm
poop,
also
and I don't cage them.
That because there's more than one of them, they're like you can't technically know whose it was. So
You don't know.
You got to catch them in the act.
well, they won't do it in front of me. Like it'll
Well,
be.
will
when
they
I'm like-
react differently
Do you
around
yell
their
at
own
them?
stuff?
Well, so and then they're like 7 now, so I just stopped like disciplining them because it's like a full grown 60-pound husky. I'm not
Sure.
gonna like the force that it would take me to actually hurt him. Like
you don't have to hurt them. You
You
just
don't have to
gotta
hurt 'em.
take their face, stick it close to it, just be like, "That's bad."
it's funny though because now
Guy's got it
so
done.
I got 2
That's
huskies.
bad.
My little one, my smaller one. If you go to do that, just grab his neck because we also
He
don't put
growls at
collars
you?
on him. No, Bane will immediately just like he just starts yelping like he's being literally dragged
That's
to his
the problem
execution.
with your dogs.
And then Vader,
Yeah,
when you
they're
grab
vocal.
him, he'll just start growling at you and start like nipping, like, and because he just doesn't like put up with it. Like he's the sweetest dog, but if you grab him and you try to force him to do things, he'll growl for sure.
Let's just talk
Bane
about
just yelps.
Bane and Vader.
Yeah,
So
right.
sick.
You know,
Very
it's funny
proud of
though
those
when
names.
someone when I feel like when pets live with someone for a while, they kind of like some dogs will like gain people's characteristics.
yeah.
For sure.
I feel like if
Yeah.
someone did that to you, you'd act the same way.
My dog, when they're in trouble, they just sit there and like stare off into the corner and don't look away until you're done talking to them. They hate confrontation, so yeah, maybe it's true. I don't like
Dude, it
confrontation
is
either.
the funniest thing ever is when like you see like the whatever part of the house destroyed, and then the dog's just sitting there and the person's yelling at them. They're like,
Yeah, they just like don't even look at you in your
Yeah,
eyes
dude.
yet.
it's just like that's like the most human I've ever seen dogs act is when
Yeah.
they're like being like when
And
they're
then,
know
they're
they're in
so
trouble.
freaking cute when they do that too. You're
Yeah.
just like, I don't want to be mad at you because you're
Have-
so cute.
Have you seen the videos where like there'll be like 2 dogs will be posted up sitting like right in front of a trash can that was like topped over and just craps everywhere, and then they'll just be like, "Who did it?" And one of the dogs will literally
Like,
just
puts
go
his
like,
paw up. Yeah.
it's just like you're going
It's
down
like,
today, bro.
it was him.
But it's so funny because they're just like,
I don't. With mine, you can tell. Like if for some reason they don't go out for a long time and someone pooped in the house, I just stand there. I'm just like, who did it? And you can tell.
you can just tell from
Because
the
one
reaction.
of them just like kind of like turns slowly and like starts to walk away, and the other one just doesn't care because they're just like, "Wasn't me."
Yeah,
So you
that's
can tell
funny.
automatically which one it was.
That is hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah, I just
Oh.
need to get like video cameras for inside the house.
I know.
I like that impossible like debate thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, we
need
should
to-
come up with more of those questions.
Yeah, we'll
That
have
was
to-
fun.
I gotta do the research because half of them are like super
Fun.
lame.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing's worse than like reading something out loud that you haven't read yet before on a recording and you're like, that sounds real lame. I
Yeah.
should have read that before I just read that.
Yeah.
Mhm. 100%.
But anyway, we're over an hour and that was fun.
That was fun.
All right, y'all. we
Subscribe and
will-
like.
Oh, subscribe and
Oh,
like.
got you.
She said it. We'll take turns saying it. Today was Gabby's turn.
Yay.
So love y'all. We'll
Comment,
see you
share,
next
like,
time.
subscribe.
Bye.